Nikki here from Happy Hormones for Life, and today I'm talking about your thyroid, or hypothyroidism, in fact. 9 natural ways to support an underactive thyroid. Now, hypothyroidism is exactly that. It's hypo rather than hyperthyroidism. There are 2 forms. Hypo is low thyroid hormones. It's when you have an underactive performing or a low performing thyroid, or a low output of thyroid hormones T3 and T4. Hyperthyroid is when you've got too much. And the symptoms are very different, but actually they can interchange when you have a certain cause of a thyroid issue. Now, women are more at risk, especially as we age and we go through other hormone imbalances like perimenopause, or in fact, if we have gut issues or genetic susceptibility as well. So what are thyroid hormones? They are like a bit like a thermostat for our cells. So they either turn us up, so they increase our metabolism, energy, temperature, alertness, or they turn us down and they slow down our metabolism, conserve our energy, decrease our temperature, and pretty much shut down non-essential functions. And all that depends on how much thyroid hormone we have available. So they travel to every single cell. And that's why common symptoms are so wide-ranging. I mean, I could write pages of symptoms because low thyroid can affect any part of your body because they're traveling to every single cell. So we do have some kind of key main symptoms for low thyroid. Fatigue, as in, real exhaustion, especially first thing in the morning. So if you wake up feeling unrefreshed, even if you've had a good night's sleep, that's a common cause of low thyroid. It's not the only one, but weight gain that you can't shift because your metabolism is so slow. Brain fog and memory loss and depression and anxiety are common with low thyroid because the energy is just not there for your brain cells. Feeling cold, particularly your hands and feet. Dry skin, brittle nails, PMS, anxiety, mood swings, puffy face, aching joints, low sex drive, constipation, high cholesterol. There's a whole ton of symptoms that can be associated with low thyroid. Obviously, there's other reasons too for those symptoms, but these are the common ones that we need to look out for. And if you've ticked some of those, you really need to make sure you get your thyroid checked properly, and I'll talk about that in a second. So what are the causes of low thyroid, underactive thyroid, hypothyroidism? The first one is Hashimoto's disease. Now, Hashimoto's disease is the most common cause of an underactive thyroid. It's probably around 70 to 80% of cases, in fact. And this is an autoimmune condition. It's where your immune system produces antibodies to your own thyroid gland, preventing it from functioning properly. Now, the only way of finding out if you have this is obviously to test your thyroid antibodies. Not always 100% reliable, but it's a good indication. The second big cause of low thyroid is nutrient deficiency. So if it's not an autoimmune condition, it's in the other 20 or so percent, then it may be that you have a nutrient deficiency because your thyroid hormones need a whole range of nutrients to be able to work properly and convert themselves and be produced. And these include iodine, tyrosine, selenium, copper, zinc, iron, essential fatty acids, and a whole host of vitamins. If you're deficient in any of those, then your thyroid could be struggling to work properly. The third reason is stress. Stress is always behind something, isn't it? Cortisol is your stress hormone, and it can be helpful or harmful for your thyroid. Now, too much or too little cortisol resulting from lots of stress can interfere with your conversion of hormones. So we have T4 that's produced from your thyroid gland needs to convert to T3, which is your active hormone, and that conversion needs a whole load of nutrients. It also relies on cortisol being in the right range. So that is why stress has an impact. Fourthly, low progesterone and high estrogen. So your estrogen progesterone ratio, which we know can go haywire during perimenopause, and that can cause high levels of estrogen compared to progesterone. And high levels of estrogen can increase something called thyroid binding proteins, and that decreases your level of free thyroid hormones, which obviously decreases the level of hormones that are available for the body to use. Now, progesterone is also needed for that conversion process. So if you're low in progesterone, that can be affected as well. The fifth main cause is food sensitivities. So one of the things that's most commonly associated with Hashimoto's disease is a gluten intolerance. It's very interesting. The science is showing that it's very much linked to, and celiac disease, very much linked to Hashimoto's. So you can then develop a leaky gut, and then that can then move on to this autoimmune reaction. So that's one thing. Number 6 cause of low thyroid, of course, is aging. So as we age, our hormone production and function decreases, the metabolism slows down as we lose muscle mass. And as we age, our thyroid gets pretty much less efficient, pretty much like the rest of us. It's also affected by other stuff going on in the body. And sometimes it's a gradual process and symptoms can kind of slowly get worse. But if you leave them untreated, you're at more risk of serious conditions such as heart disease and diabetes. So we need to make sure that we're in balance the whole way. And last cause of thyroid, and I think I've mentioned it, is family history. So genetic factors can be very influential in this. Now, I won't go into testing. I have another video on that, so I'll link it underneath. But testing in the mainstream is a bit hit and miss. So it's really important to get your whole pathway tested for thyroid, because often if you just test the mainstream hormones, it's not going to show a weakness further down. So, you know, if you have symptoms and you're being told you're normal, then you may need to just get some private tests done to really just check that you are actually normal and you're optimum. Because if you're still having symptoms, it's suggesting that you know you're not actually optimal, but you may be normal down the bottom. That makes sense. 9 natural ways to support your thyroid. Whether or not you need medication, there are lots of ways to support your thyroid to improve your symptoms. So here are my top 9. So eat good quality protein. Protein breaks down to amino acids, one of which is tyrosine. You need tyrosine to make your thyroid hormones. And protein also helps to get your hormones around the body, so we need that. Good sources: organic, eggs, grass-fed meat, wild-caught fish, nuts and seeds, quinoa, organic dairy, beans, legumes, that kind of stuff, right? Number 2 is reduce sugar. So too much insulin can suppress your thyroid. So it's really important to avoid those refined carbohydrates and the sugar, and always try and eat protein and healthy fats with your food so that you can slow down any sugar release from any carbs. Number 3 is to get your nutrients in. Now, I talked about the nutrients needed for thyroid hormones to actually be created and produced, but also to be converted. So we want vitamin D from the sun or supplements, especially now during the winter. We need vitamin D supplements, all of us in the UK. So get those, make sure you're supplementing vitamin D3. Vitamin A from grass-fed butter, animal products, really important. Iron, again, from animal products and legumes and seeds and whole grains. Selenium, some nuts, Brazil nuts. You'll get 2 or 3 Brazil nuts will give you your day's quantity of selenium. Zinc, iodine, tyrosine I mentioned from protein, omega-3 fats, incredibly important, and all your B vitamins, really, really important. So you need a really wide range of vitamins and minerals. And I would get yourself tested if you're thinking you may be deficient in some of those, because it's really, really important to make sure you're not. 4th natural solution is to avoid those food sensitivities. So common ones, the most common are gluten and dairy. Gluten in particular, as I said, has been linked with Hashimoto's. So we want to make sure that we're avoiding gluten if you've got that diagnosed. Number 5 is include coconut oil in your diet. Now, it is a saturated fat, but it's made of medium chain triglycerides, MCTs. You can also get MCT oil if you don't like coconut oil. Pop it in your smoothies. It really helps to boost metabolism and helps thyroid to do its job. Number 6 is support your gut. So any imbalance in your gut flora or any infections can really interfere with your thyroid function and really stimulate that autoimmune response, because your immune system lives in your gut. So we want to be supporting the gut with lots of probiotics and prebiotic foods, such as live yogurts and garlic and onions and leeks and fermented sauerkrauts, things like that. Kefir and kombucha are now widely available in the supermarket, so get some of those into your diet. And if you suspect or you have other gut issues, then get yourself tested properly. Talk to me about that if you want to. We have an amazing gut test, stool test that picks up any kind of microbial imbalance. So we want to make sure we haven't got those, and we're ruling that out. Number 7, where am I? 7 is to check your environmental exposure. So really minimize your exposure to those endocrine disrupting chemicals by drinking filtered water, avoiding plastics as much as possible, eating organic, and then swapping those household and personal products to more non-toxic brands. Check out my other blogs on those. Number 8, where am I? Look after your adrenals. So that's stress, really manage. I mean, stress comes into every single video I do and write about in the blogs, because it's so important. It has an impact on everything. So just make sure you're getting that me time every day, that relaxed time, that downtime, and supplement with vitamin C, magnesium, and B vitamins to make sure that you're not deficient in those, because when we're stressed, we use those up very quickly. And last one, exercise. Activity increases your metabolism. It helps to maintain that muscle mass. It helps to get nutrients into your cells and your hormones, and helps to eliminate toxins. So Walking is great if you haven't got much energy. Yoga is ticks all the boxes for me. And you know, yoga, those inversion shoulder stands, they meant to stimulate the thyroid. I think, I don't know, I don't have evidence of that, but hey, it's part of yoga, so that's good to me. If you do suspect you have a thyroid issue, it's really important to get help. You can't leave it. Not only because it makes you feel rubbish, but also it increases your risk of stuff later on. So we want to make sure that your thyroid is working properly. So contact me for a discovery call and we'll get that booked in and I can chat to you about your thyroid, or click on one of the links below and have a look at some of the other blogs I've done. Okay, hope that was helpful. Take care. Bye.